So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Eazy Conversations. Thanks a lot to everyone who listened to the last episode featuring the homie Matt and I. Hope you enjoyed listening to us share various horror movie recommendations, talk a little bit about the fall holiday as well, and yeah, hopefully you got the chance to check some of those movies out. And looking forward to having another episode like that again down the road. It's now for episode 170 of Eazy Conversations. I'm extremely excited, of course, to be back in the studio virtually with the homie Matt. So what's up, the people?
What's going on, everybody? Hope you're having a great time right now. I had a blast on the last episode, Eric. I think today's episode is going to be really fun. Trip down memory lane, we'll say. Yeah, why don't you let the listeners know what we're going to be discussing, Eric?
Emphasis on trip, because we will be discussing various experiences traveling, what either locally, abroad, what have you, any sort of adventures we found ourselves in at various points in our lives. So I'm looking forward to just going down, like you said, memory lanes. Always a good time. That nostalgic feeling just hits. And yeah, so again, just talking about different travel experiences there. Not the first time we've done this, but I'm excited to do it. Just us two, Matt. There are a few other episodes where we had a few guests on, like our Uncle Pat came on to share some of his stories, and then I had a few of my friends who came on that I went to England with back in the day at school. So that was a good one as well. If you haven't checked those ones out, go back and rerun those. But yeah, for this one, just Matt and I sharing some stories, and hopefully entertain the people. But before we get into that, I just want to highlight, if you're not watching this on YouTube, you're doing yourself a disservice to not be able to see Matt's beautiful mustache he's got going on right now, repping the Movember. Love to see it, Matt. Looking fresh right now. So just wanted to quick shout out and yeah, before we get into it. So yeah. You
Yeah.
want to kick us off,
It was
Matt?
just
Sorry, go ahead.
spur of the moment decision to just take the beard off. I didn't want to grow a mustache from start because I would look stupid for about 2 weeks. Not that I don't look stupid now, but no, I'm loving it. I did it right before the Jays game, the heartbreaking Game 7. But enough on the negative of that. We're gonna be a positive episode today. This is also an episode, Eric, where I'm going to look back in like 20, 30 years and like this will be a great time capsule episode. They all are, but this is one especially. So can't wait. Yeah, I'll kick us off if you'd like. No
Yeah.
problem. A lot of my trips is when I was younger too, so it's great. It's going to be very nostalgic. I'll kick us off. In 2003, I took a family trip to British Columbia, mostly to visit my mom's friend. That was the main goal of the trip, but like she lived in Vancouver, so we flew to Vancouver, and I want to talk about a day I'll never forget in Vancouver. We did Stanley Park, which is a big famous park there that's beautiful, nature and everything. And Stanley Park and the Capilano, like drawstring bridge, basically, we did. That 2003, like I said, I was 12 years old. I still remember like yesterday biking around Stanley Park and going on that bridge, and like I can close my eyes or I can remember like things I've said that day and moments that have happened. Um, that's the first trip too that I can remember in detail, like things that have happened, even though I was only 12 years old. It was excellent. Time of your life where everything's great, right? You're 12 years old. You haven't started to work yet. You haven't, you haven't experienced all that. So you're just having fun as like a preteen. It was a great trip. I just remember probably a time in my life where I didn't have stress and didn't have to worry about anything. And then like just biking around in this beautiful park with my dad, my sister, my mom. It was fun. Even in Vancouver, we did like cave exploration. I had never done that. That was really fun. That's another memory. Just a quick story. My dad came out of the cave without his glasses. He actually dropped his glasses in a cave. He actually goes back in and finds them intact
No
in a
way.
cave. That was crazy. Yeah, like wild story right there. I also remember this like movie related, but I remember we went to the theater in Vancouver and we saw Pirates of the Caribbean. And it was one of the best theater experiences of my life. Still a great masterpiece of a movie to this day, aged really well. But I remember seeing it at the theater and being like blown away by how great it was. So that trip was an all-time banger, Vancouver. yeah, good food too. But
Mhm.
highlighting the nature and like biking around in Stanley Park, that was, I still remember that like yesterday, Eric. So that's what I'll start us off with.
That's awesome. And yeah, that's a prime age to where like going on maybe like one of your first big trips. It's a Vancouver too is a completely different look to what we're used to in Ottawa, right? They say West Coast, best coast. I don't disagree. Like that time zone is just money too, especially for watching sports. But yeah, just like
True.
on the Pacific coast, biking around in Stanley Park, gorgeous. You just feel good in that nature environment, the fresh air, taking in the sights. Like there's a bunch of skyscrapers in Vancouver too. Like you get both, right? The
Mm-hmm.
big city feel and also the mountains, the ocean.
It's
It's
true.
unbelievable. If you get, there's a saying that one of my friends used to say back in the day was if you get sick of Amsterdam, you get sick of life, and I feel like you could kind of apply that to Vancouver. That's somewhere you could go probably countless amounts of times in your life, and every time you know you're in for a great time because you got that best of both worlds, the nature and the big city feel. So that's what I would. I've been to Vancouver a few times. I could never get tired of it. I would go back in a heartbeat. It's beautiful out there, and yeah, Stanley Park is unreal. There's massive trees. Feel like you're in
Mm-hmm.
Fangorn for Christ's sake, but
Yeah.
great, great one to kick us off. So I'm gonna go with a more somewhat recent but a pivotal one in my life, which I've already talked about a few times on the pod. But when you talk about for me what traveling means, my perception really changed when I went to England in 2016 for my my study abroad, my last semester in university. Again, if there's any younger listeners tuning in right now, watching on YouTube, subscribe please if you're not already. Like this is something that if you have the opportunity to do, you truly should seriously consider it because for me it was a life changing experience that got me really out of my shell in a sense where I was thrown into a completely new environment with no one that I knew. Went in blind. Still remember the flight there. I was excited, and then it was a red eye flight, right? So when I did manage to sleep a little on the plane, and I remember waking up. We were like an hour away from touchdown, and that's when the nerves were starting to hit. I was like, "Oh my god!" Like I'm going into this brand new like setting, different continent. I don't know anybody.
Yeah.
How am I gonna act and react and be received in here, right? Like some insecurities are popping up. You're not sure if you're gonna make friends, and I was for sure nervous. So then when I got to Heathrow Airport, there were signs leading towards where the other international students arriving on that day were. And I still remember clearly, there was this big circle of people, and I just walking in there, I'm like super nervous. I walk in, I'm like, hey everybody, like, my name's Eric, I'm whatever from Canada. And everyone's like, hey Eric, you're Canadian. Like right away was received with open arms and excitement that you don't really get in many other settings, right? Like everyone's there coming in with the same mindset of like, yeah, I'm a little nervous, but it's also like a super cool thing we're doing here, coming from our worlds and all sharing this moment together. So that helped a lot, honestly, to be received. I want to say like I made a few comments and people laughed right away, so I got a good
Right.
sense of like, all right, like I can do well with this kind of group here. So it made me feel comfortable immediately. And I'll just say quickly, there was this other guy who came in next, who was from Canada as well. He was from Quebec, and Dave P. He came in and he was like, "Hey, I'm Dave. I'm from Canada." And then I turned around, I'm like, "Hey, like, me too. I'm from Canada." He was like, "Okay," and then just like did not care. I was like, "All right, this guy's an asshole." Like I thought we were gonna have like a little bonding moment here, but I think he was just kind of like also just a shock as well because then we got into the
Right.
bus to go to school. We were chatting kind of the whole way. So I'm like, all right, this guy just was a little awkward in that one interaction. I judged him hastily. So from that moment on, that made me like more comfortable. Got to meet people from like Sweden, Amsterdam, Belgium, Australia, Germany. Met my roommates who were, one of them was German, who was in that circle actually. One was Swedish, one was Spanish, and I was the youngest one out of my roommates. I was 22, and everyone was 1 year older than the next guy. So I was able to kind of learn from these guys where they had already been living on their own. I obviously was coming from living at my parents' house. not really taking on many responsibilities at home, like laundry, cooking, all these things were all new, like doing groceries, right? So they were able to kind of take me under their collective wings. And yeah, while obviously I wasn't a seasoned chef off the rip, I did learn some things. And yeah, that was kind of the baseline for me to be a responsible, independent adult. So I look at that trip that it really gave me that foundation. And yeah, like I could list off stories of moments with these people. We'd be here all day, honestly, but I
Mm-hmm.
look back really fondly on that trip and just how special it was to have, like I said, a bunch of people coming in together. How quickly we were able to form a bond, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like Justin Mocktinger, who was just on the pod a few episodes ago, right? Would be remiss if I didn't give him a shout out. Still remember when he came up to me, like he knew I was also Canadian, made a comment about hockey, and I remember it was either the first or second night, we went to this bar, and he was talking about, of course, Austin Matthews right away, and I remember he was thinking the Leafs were going to be bad, thinking they'd get, again, a crack at first overall, and Timothy Liljegren was someone he was looking at, who they actually ended up drafting like 17th overall or something, so it's just funny how that worked out. They thought he was going to be like the first overall pick. He wasn't, but they
Mm-hmm.
still snagged him late. So, little Justin
Wow.
story there. I got a ton of those as well. But yeah, no, England, one of the highlights of my life, no doubt.
That's awesome. I could hear you. I could listen to you talk about England all day, Eric. I like that you said these were like the transformative years for you, like doing things for yourself. But then you got to do it in London with like total strangers that became your friends. So that's really cool. I experienced all that, but like in Ottawa, close to home, so it wasn't the same as you. You went out of your comfort zone and did all these things
Mm-hmm.
abroad, and that's awesome. Would you say like it shaped you into the person you are today, right? Like how 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 much of a confidence boost was that, Eric, where you excelled at it, right? And you're like, all right, I can do this. And then when you come back here, you're like, oh my God, like this is easy mode, right?
Yeah, and it was a for sure, like I said, life changing and
Mm-hmm.
persona defining time for me,
Right.
definitely.
Okay.
Because while I was already like, I had a good comfort level at home with like my people. I had never had that like full on, you're starting from scratch in your 20s. Yeah, so it gave me a lot of confidence to be more comfortable around people I don't know as well. And it's kind of something I try to apply in my work, for example, right? Where like I've moved
Mm-hmm.
teams a few times and typically do try to like you don't want to go in too hot when you're with a new group of people and like really put your personality on full display. You kind of want to ease into a group, not be overbearing. But at the flip side of that is it's also good to kind of just be yourself and not be afraid of like ruffling some feathers where I feel like I don't really take my time as much to let people know how I am because I do like to have those connections with people at work because you spend so much time with people at work, right? Well, for me,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's at home or in the office, I feel like it's just better to maybe be yourself a little more rather than hold back. And I think that trip definitely showed me that, yeah, I can pretty easily come in with a new group of people and create bonds. And I think everyone is able to do that. It's just your mindset in those situations. Obviously, like, it's not like I'm going into every single setting like I'm take over, like talking to everybody right away. Not
Mm-hmm.
absolutely not, but not as reserved about those moments as I maybe was before, kind of thing. So that's what I would say there.
No, that's great. I love to hear stuff like that. Um, I definitely like doing that at that age. Like, I could never imagine myself doing that. Like I was very shy back then, but yeah, that's an awesome story. Okay, I'm gonna talk about a trip. This will be the only one where it's like not a family vacation. This is the one that put me out of my comfort zone. Uh, Not the same experience as you, but definitely like the most uncomfortable I've ever been. Anyways, in a good way though. In 2010, so 2010, let me paint a picture. 2010, I've recently like dropped out of Ottawa U, decided to not pursue my academic endeavor there. I'm working full time at the Farm Boy grocery store. I'm a little like down and like I'm not sure what I'm doing with my life. I don't know yet. I'm only 19 years old. Um, okay, so my dad is working for this company. He's taking a lot of business trips, doing like conferences, business conferences, and he has an opportunity to go to Washington D.C. And then he's like, "Hey, Matt, did you want to come with me? Like, I have a big hotel room. It's 4 days. You'd be able to explore the city. We're gonna be close." So I said, "You know what? Sure." I never like travel. I never like had the opportunity like to like go exploring and doing an adventure by myself. So I tag along to Washington D.C. and boy, Eric, talk about like entering another world that I wasn't prepared for and like doing everything by myself. Because again, I was pretty. I'll admit I was pretty sheltered as a kid. Not super independent, and like when I moved out of my parents' house, there was a lot of eye-opening things where I had to do for myself. But this trip highlighted like this is pre, by the way, like any phone with internet or GPS. I had an actual map, and I had a disposable camera too to take lots of pictures. Like this is that era where technology hadn't really. I didn't really have the greatest technology to help me navigate. Anyways, get to Washington D.C. Eric. It's the first morning. I'm up super early. Take the metro right downtown because we're near the airport, so I couldn't really walk. It would have been a crazy walk. So I took the metro, which that Eric, I was so nervous. I don't know why. Just hearing stories. I've never taken a subway before, right? Like I was going down this escalator. I remember like yesterday, I closed my eyes. This escalator to go underground here. I think it took 10 minutes of being on it to reach like the depths of the metro, the subway. It was insane. It was so steep too. I remember like not seeing the end, and I'm like, is this like going on forever? And people are speed running and walking by me. This is like rush hour in the morning, right? People are getting to work. I'm just like a awkward tourist there, like watching people fly by me, bump me out of the way. I get there, I'm like, how am I gonna pay? How am I gonna do anything? But guess what, guys? It wasn't as bad as what was in my head. Stress and anxiety was all made up. Everything was fine. I get downtown. I'm basically like a kid in a candy store in the sense that like I see all these things that I recognize from movies and TV shows. You know, the White House, the Washington Monument, the Lincoln Memorial, that like river leading up to the Lincoln Memorial that you see like people give speeches and rallies. You know, where Martin Luther King Jr. gave a speech, like that famous shot with the water behind them. That was super cool. It felt like it was my first time where I'm like, things look larger than life in TV and movies and on the news, but then when you're there, you're like, oh, this is just like in Ottawa. It's the same exact thing. It's just normal to these people, and there's no big deal. And then, but like when I saw these famous monuments and landmarks, I was awestruck, really. I'm a big fan of like American history. You know, love it or hate them. Like they have a cool history, and it's definitely helped shape the world for better or worse right now. Like I said, I was in school for history, so this was like it was great for me. Ton of museums in DC that are cool, but I just remember this trip helped me like you, like this gave me a little confidence boost. Like, oh, I can do things by myself right now. I can navigate. Even asking people for help for directions, I had to do going into random stores to like, all right, where am I right now? Pinpoint myself on the map. Like I was literally like relying on this map, and I was like, all right, I need to be back at the hotel at this time. Don't get lost. And it was a pretty wild trip, Eric. Again, you know what? I'll just throw it into. I did go to the theater again. I don't know why I go to the movies on these trips, but I just, I'm obsessed with movies. I did end up going to the cinema one day when it was a little rainy, and this must have been 2011, not 2010. Now that I remember, because X-Men First Class was out, and I think that's 2011.
Yeah.
I went to see X-Men First Class. I thought it was so good. It just like I was alone in the theater pretty much, and it was really, really. I remember it like yesterday. Like it was amazing. The other thing I noticed too is it was my first time going into different like food places by myself, and like the culture of the States was totally different than what I was used to, in the sense that like a couple places I went to, they spoke to me in Spanish right away, and I was like, all right, what neighborhood am I in? Am I supposed to be like, I'm like the super outsider right now, right? So that was a little bit of a culture shock. Just the way they spoke in English too, totally different. Like I felt right away like they could identify me as a tourist just with how I spoke.
They're like, what's this gringo doing in here?
Exactly. You know, maybe I maybe pull off the look, but definitely as soon as I open my mouth, I'm cooked. And I remember walking for crazy amounts of kilometers there, or miles, I guess, over there. So I remember like I was like a backpacker in a concrete jungle. That's basically what my trip was, and I got it back, and it gave me a big confidence boost. And I remember I felt a little better about like where I was heading in life. Like I continued working at a farm boy for a while after that, but I definitely like it gave me a confidence boost. Nothing like crazy. Like this was just 4 days, right? Not like your year in London or more. But no, it was a really fun trip.
Nice, man. Yeah, doing a trip like that too, like it definitely makes you more of a grown up in the sense where like you said, and this was before phones, so you have to figure stuff out on your own. Your dad's working, like he's burning the midnight oil, probably 12-hour days out there. This conference, so you got your map trying to like, decipher Spanish out here, like you're on your own. You probably had objectives throughout the day where you wanted to see certain things, but it's now on you to execute on those wishes. So, no, that's cool. Like doing a trip like that definitely does make you grow up and just have to be sustainable, self-sustainable, basically. So, no, that's awesome. I've done the map once in Rome. I also had like that. You're kind of just putting a red bullseye on your back though, as like, all right, that's a tourist easy pickpocket target, but you know you got to do what you got to do, and just wear the backpack in front of you and you're all good. So you know, maps kind of underrated, honestly, to read a map and kind of just follow it, because me too, when I would travel in Europe, like I always was on airplane mode, like I wasn't burning data, so you're kind of just trying to fish out Wi-Fi hotspots where you can, but otherwise, you know, you just lift your eyes up and don't keep your nose buried to the ground as we do with our cell phones these days. So I love that. A simpler time also, reading maps.
Exactly.
Although reading a map to drive does not sound ideal. Like when you see in movies, like people have the full map like spread out on the dash, like, all right, I gotta get off on I-95. Like it just does not seem like a good time. So I'm glad we've gotten away from that. Nice. So I'll just keep going kind of in chronological order. I just want to throw in one last story while I was in England. So this was, again, my guy Dave P. This was one of the perks of being there, is that I was able to do a lot of like weekend trips, like maybe even a long weekend. I didn't have class on like Friday, so I would go, like I would leave somewhere Thursday and come back Sunday night and then be able to go to school on Monday. And for pretty cheap, like flying on Ryanair, it was like some flights were like $12, like $34 like to fly. So it was a joke to fly. So one weekend, my friend Dave, the rude Quebecer, asked me if I wanted to go to Tenerife with him, which I had never heard about. Kind of like Cayman Islands adjacent, I want to say. So we went. This was a quick things trip. We got there Friday, left Sunday, and we got there Friday night late. So we arrived, went to our hostel, and in the hostel there were, now I might be mistaken on the number of people, but you can check out, I actually have this on YouTube. There were either 6 or 8 other people in the room we were staying in, and they were all in the room when we got there, and they said like, hey, we're all going out for dinner, do you guys want to come with us? Right? Yeah, sure, let's go. And this was late, like it was like 9-10. So we went out to dinner with them, just share these people were from all over the place. Like we had a Russian girl, there was a Icelandic guy, Spanish guy, 2 Dutch guys, 1 American girl. Yeah, we were 6, that's it. So we were 8 total. And then we went out to like this tapas place, ate outside, did karaoke at this place. Me, Dave, and another guy did By the Way by Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh yeah.
And it was electric. So then after that, we went to this like bodega kind of spot, got some beer, like some red Solo cups, ping pong balls, and went on a rooftop, played beer pong for at least like an hour and a half, and then went out to this like a bunch of clubs and got home at like 6 a.m. So this was one, at that point in my life, and probably still now, that was the latest night I went out to, like multiple spots, partied with strangers, that in that setting you're kind of just open-minded and you're willing to like do whatever with these people who like you establish a quick bond with, and then that's it. Like it's on to the next country, or for me it was just back to school. So that was a classic night for us. And then the next day we wanted to do something, like we wanted to do a hike at a volcano, but it was closed. So we ended up going to like the next best thing in Tenerife, which is their legendary water park. So we just went to the water park, chill, like went there all day. It was super fun. Like again, this is all on YouTube, minus the like went out and wasn't filming or going out there. That's kind of a greasy look, but yeah, no, crazy night. That was an all timer, just ripping cigs and yeah. Anyway, so it was a good night, classic trip. And yeah, just kind of like encapsulates what it's like to go on a trip in a hostel, especially where just a bunch of strangers who are you're down to just do stuff with them. Yeah, it was fun. Great night. Great trip. That's it.
I loved hearing all this, Eric. I could tell, like, I was watching your face when you were talking about it, and there was a lot there unsaid where you're like, you remember that full night, probably one of the best nights of your life, or most memorable. Well, Sammy, we're talking about it right now. Yeah. For this episode. Yeah, I bet you like that whole night could be like a movie where it's like it's like you say you just yes to everything. Like, you want to do this? Yeah, let's go. Let's do this. And you remember that karaoke song you sang? I love that song, by the way.
I just want to be clear. There wasn't anything absurd going on. Like, just like, I don't want to paint this picture of like I'm saying like yes to everything out here, but yeah, anyway, no, it was just a great night with strangers who like I actually have a lot of them on like Instagram and stuff based on that one night. We obviously don't talk, but like I see them out and about and like they're doing their thing. So yeah.
Okay, I'm picturing like a crazy like White Lotus-esque night, you know, where it's like hedonistic and like full out. No, but that's awesome, Eric. Tenerife, yeah. I've probably seen the YouTube. It's one of those YouTube videos like the music, like those videos you would film and post, Eric, with like the great. Okay. I've definitely seen it, but it's been so long. I'll have to check that. It's all on your channel?
Yep, exactly. The same channel that you're watching this, hopefully.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's awesome to hear. I like these little side quests you were doing, like when you were in London. You're like little quick 2-3 days here and there. That's awesome.
Yeah, like I still remember when he asked me. Like I remember when he asked me to go on this trip with him. I was like, I'd never heard of this place. He was like, the flight is like I don't even remember how much it was, but and it was like end of the night. It was like leave like that or the next week or something. I was like, yeah, sure, why not? It's free, wow. So yeah.
You get there, you're probably exhausted. You're like, but let's go.
Oh, yeah. No.
Like, we're not here to sleep.
Ate at Burger King, I remember, and just get the hostel. And I don't know what the plan was, really. We were kind of lucky that we happened to stumble on this group of people in our room, right? And that they were nice enough to invite us. Like, that's also, you don't really know what you're going to get in a hostel. I've obviously had times in hostels where I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm just there to... Because I've done a few solo trips where I kind of just want to see things at my own pace and don't want to be sidetracked. But in some cases, more often than not, honestly, there's a ton of stories I could say about like hostel meeting people and doing stuff with them. But be here all night, so it's just I guess open-minded if you go to a hostel. Either open-minded or like laser focused. I feel like you can not really go in between. Yeah.
Yeah, I love hearing your hostel stories, Eric, because it's something that I don't think I could have ever done. I mean, I haven't had a chance to do that yet, so that's...
At this point,
I'm picturing myself in your scenario. I'm picturing myself in that scenario, Eric. I'm like, oh my God, there's no way I could have done that. But I guess if I get placed there, you know, one in Rome, you just do it. You dive right in feet first, right?
So the thing with the hostel, though, I feel like it's a thing where... Like, I'm never staying in a hostel again. At this point, like, it's hotel or bust, really. Like, it's a young person, like, not a lot of money. It's a cheap accommodation. But, like, there are still obviously older people who are in there. And typically solo travelers, like, if you go on, like, a solo mission across a bunch of countries, you want to stay in a hostel and meet people, that's fine. But typically it's a really younger, like, early 20s, late teens maybe vibe, fresh out of university. But I wouldn't recommend it for like us at this point, Matt, because it's still kind of stressful sleeping in a hostel where I would literally sleep with my backpack. Like I did not trust these people in there, especially like if you're drinking, staying in there. Like you never know like what kind of people are gonna stumble in there. Staying in a room with 15 other people is not ideal on a lot of levels, really. But if you're Yeah, that's the thing. Like I would never sleep great in these places. It'd be like you go to bed late, wake up early kind of thing. Like if you're looking to get 8 to 10 hours of sleep, you're in the wrong place, my friend. So, and you gotta be like trustworthy, I guess, trusting of people, which I was not. Just cuddling with
Okay.
my laptop for God's sakes. But yeah,
You're smart, yeah. I just have image of you like cradling your backpack,
oh
like
yeah,
hugging it to sleep.
big
Yeah, that's
time.
smart actually. You're not risking anything. Okay, yeah, you're definitely like painting a different picture for me now. So yeah, maybe it's a young man. Yeah, you're right. Um, all right, my next one is this one will be quicker. We took a family trip to Halifax, to Nova
Nice.
Scotia, which was amazing. But what I remember a lot about this trip was our road trip there. Like we drove, we were a little younger, me and my sister, so we didn't do like too much driving in one day. But like we did Quebec City and then St. Andrews by the Sea in New Brunswick on day two, which was amazing. Like super nice little shore town. And then New Brunswick ferry to Halifax or Nova Scotia and then drive to Halifax. Um, and this will be a specific moment in Halifax, which, by the way, there the food was so good. And this place, one night we went to this restaurant, which was delicious, but they were hosting this kind of American Idol type music event there. It was called like the Halifax Idol or something like that.
Cool.
And there was, while we were eating, we were getting entertained, and there was a show, like theater show, put on in front of us with audience participation. And this cast, like these actors that were also our waiters, by the way, were dressed in all sorts of costumes. Some were really flamboyant and colorful. It was really cool. And I always remember like the most our waiter, who was like really funny and really like a colorful guy and sang really well. And he was like full makeup, Eric, and everything, like very flamboyant, like I said. And he got my dad, like he was picking on my dad all night, like not in a bad way, but like getting him to be like, all right, Michelle, when I say this, you're gonna have to get up and yell this to me. Like you're gonna be like my co-actor here. And my dad, honestly, was such a like game for this. Like he did it all and well. And I'll always remember laughing my ass off the whole night because my dad he just went all in on this, and it was great. And I'll always like I can close my eyes and remember that supper where my dad participated in this like Halifax Idol music thing. It's not like he got up and sang in front of everyone. He was just like doing. The guy told him, when I say this, you got to get up and heckle me and yell this or do this. And my dad did it all, and it was hilarious, Eric. So I'll always remember that specific memory in Halifax of my dad doing that. And eating the good food and walking around in that city was fun too. But that was a really memorable dinner. So I just wanted to highlight that.
That's awesome. I love a good crowd participation moments, which you don't get a lot of those, right? Like, those are rare moments where typically you're going out to a nice restaurant or any restaurant for that matter, and you just want to eat and get out of there. Like, have good times with your people, of course, but you're not. Like, were you aware that this was going on, or you just stumbled upon it, like in the restaurant? Like, was this
I think we got lucky. I don't think we planned this.
okay?
I remember it was very
So
random. Yeah.
organic Halifax Idol, Uncle Michel participation in there. Love to see it, and yeah, I mean that sounds like a great trip. Also, like the seeing various spots in Canada, and yeah, Halifax. Like we were just there, absolutely loved it. One of our favorite spots to see in Canada so far. Definitely one where I feel like kind of like Vancouver too. You could go back there a bunch of times. You get that same atmosphere of yeah. There's still some mountains, just a bit different there, but you got the coast, the Atlantic Ocean, and the big city feel, like that perfect hybrid. So Halifax is the Vancouver of the East. I feel like is very, very fair to say. So I love that. It's a great story, great trip, and yeah, the seafood unbelievable. Some of the best, the best honestly I've ever had. So great stuff. Again, just gonna keep going down the line here. Next, coming off the, so when I graduated 2017, I had went on a bunch of mini trips at that point. Then the year after that, 2018, I had a 5-leg parlay different country trip, which started off in Iceland, ended in Spain, well, London technically, but starting off in Iceland, and this I might have already said on the pod, you know this, Matt, there, but I was there with my friend Alex and my friend Ezra, who I actually met in England, who's been on the pod a few times. So we were in Iceland, beautiful country, one of my favorites I've ever been to. Would go back for sure. Just like every single staying in a hostel every single day. Wake up early. We had a car. Ezra was the only one who could drive because it was standard, and we were too young to drive. Alex and I. You had to be like 20. What was how old were we at that? Well, it doesn't matter. So you had to be 25. So driving around, seeing all these like volcanoes, glaciers, everything, whatever. And this was on our before last day or our last day, honestly. We were back at the hostel. I had gone back up to the room. I was either had FaceTimed Andy or was just texting her. We were just talking. And Alex and Ezra were downstairs already in the hostel lobby. And Ezra texted me saying, like, I think I just saw the actor who plays Bronn in Game of Thrones, like in the hostel. I think he's in the hallway. Like, check it out when you walk down the stairs. I'm like, all right, whatever. So once I'm done talking to Andy, I go down like a few levels and I hear this guy on the phone talking. I'm like, kind of sounds like the actor who plays Bronn. I peek down, sure as shit, it was him. Like, I'm forgetting his name right now. I kind of feel bad. I should have had that handy. But the actor who played Bronn was on the phone in the hostel that we were staying at. So I was like, holy shit. Like, I just walked by him too. Walked down the stairs. I went and see Ezra. And I don't know where Alex was at this point. But he kind of got lost in the mix. I told Ezra, I'm like, that was 100% him. Like, we got to go up there and see him. And we went up. And there was this other girl who was waiting there too. She's like, it's him. It's him, right? I'm like, yeah, it's him for sure. We're just freaking out. We're like, what are we going to say to him? Whatever. He was on this phone call for like, I swear, 15 minutes. We were just posted up waiting for him to end his phone call. And then he walked down and the girl actually went up. She's like, hey, are you whatever? Is it okay if we take a picture with you? He was like, yeah, all right, let's go. We took the picture with him in the hallway, and I said something to him like, man, like, I hope you don't die. This was before season 7 or 8, the last season 8 came out. I'm like, man, like, I hope you make it through the season. He's like, yeah, thanks. He's like, just don't tell anybody. I mean, don't post this on social media. He's like, I don't want people to know that I'm in Iceland, like, especially here specifically. Like, yeah, no problem. Super nice. Took the picture with us. That was it. I think we each said like a little something to him, and he went on his way. Like, he clearly knew people at the hostel because he then went in the lobby and hopped over the bar and went in the back and like grabbed the bottle and just dipped. And then we saw him leave the hostel with like a few, 3-4 people just walking in the streets of Reykjavik, Iceland. Unreal. Yeah, this was for sure last night. We were freaking out, Ezra and I. Like, got the pic with him. It's still on my Instagram if you want to check it out. Iconic moment. First like one of my first major run-ins with like a celebrity, I'd say, and just a cool story and really lucky, like random, no idea this was gonna happen, but right place, right time, and pretty cool moment. So that definitely kicked off like that slew of countries we hit up, which was like with different people at each country. So I went to Amsterdam after that with my friend Mart, and then we went to Prague after, at which point Andy met up with Mart and I, and then Mart left. Andy and I went to Croatia, and we're in Croatia and Spain together, and then London for like 2 nights, and then she stayed actually with one of her friends for a few more nights. Went to see a Jay-Z and Beyonce concert at Wembley Stadium, which is one of her favorite shows of all time, if not favorite. And then I went back home. But yeah, no, that's one of my favorite trips I've done, where it was like 3-4 days in every country. You can see so much, really, obviously in the same city you're staying in, but you can see everything, and then on to the next. And yeah, no, that was a special moment. Like, great way to kick off the trip, and yeah, just awesome trip in general. One of my faves.
Great story, Eric. I never tire of hearing it. I remember the picture too, with Bronn. I have the name Jeremy in my head for
Jeremy
name,
Flynn,
right?
No, that's someone else. I
can't remember either. Yeah.
Damn it, Jeremy Flynn is someone else.
Are you looking it up?
Yeah, Jeremy.
Yeah.
It's Jerome Flynn. So it was kind of both right there. Yeah, nice.
Yeah. But hey, if you're gonna be in a hit show, people are gonna come talk to you, right? Like, he probably hears that all the time. it's good on you to like approach him and actually talk to him. Like I've had minor celebrity encounter like minor where, well, it's not really an encounter. I just stay really silent and I can't say shit all because I'm starstruck like crazy. And this is all my times at the Toronto Film Festival. I just freeze like a statue, Eric. But I wonder now, being almost like 34 years old, and next year when I will be going to the Toronto Film Festival next year. I'll be almost like I feel like I'll be more confident to say something because when I went like 10 years ago, there's no way I can talk to like a Viggo Mortensen or someone like of that stature. I would freeze up like so scared because you know they're like they are my gods, right? Not like you know we love movies and like these are the people I see all the time on the screen. Anyways, what a great way to kick off your five-country stint. And
Definitely.
a concert at Wembley Stadium, they say it's one of the best venues in the world for a concert, right? You watch, go watch on YouTube all the great concerts there. It's unbelievable. That's awesome, Eric. I have okay. My next one, I'm going to talk about me in London because this is my most recent trip that I've done, and so it was last year in 2024. It was one of the best trips I've ever taken, Eric, again with the family. We already talked about the podcast. Like, I did all the touristy stuff like Buckingham Palace, the Parliament, all that, like Big Ben, seeing everything that London Eye. But I'll always remember when I stepped off the plane. Basically, it was an overnight flight, Eric. We were so tired. We get to Heathrow. It's beginning of the morning, but in our brains, still like late night. But I didn't even sleep on the plane. I was so pumped. We get to Heathrow. We take the train to where near our Airbnb is, but we have time to kill because we had to check in at a certain time. Oh my God! Like I did not feel tired for a second, Eric. My eyes were like wide open. Like, oh my God, I'm in like one of the most famous cities in the world. It's not the most. Like London's been around forever, guys, and it hasn't really changed all that much. You know, it hasn't been sacked by barbarians or anything. It's like some of these other European cities. Like it's a super historical place that I've always wanted to be in. And I just remember my first day exploring and walking in London was magical, and it felt weird because I was so tired. It felt like a night odyssey in the blazing sun during the day, where I was like, oh, I can't go to sleep now. I gotta like explore and soak everything in. And I just remember buying my first like thing there and like using the money. I was like, am I gonna be able to do this? Yeah, of course I am. I don't know. Even though they speak English, I still felt like a fish out of water because you know, as soon as I opened my mouth, all right, they know I'm a tourist. But no, the whole trip was great. I need to do this more often, honestly. I have a ton of vacation at work that I don't use, and it just builds up. And why not take 2 weeks off a year and go somewhere different? It doesn't even have to be overseas, you know. I can just drive somewhere in Canada, and that'd be great. But yeah, London is a magical place. As soon as our trip ended, Eric, I felt like such like sadness of like, oh, like this moment's gone now. But I can always look back through my pictures and my memories, and I know it's a trip I'll never forget. Just historical aspects, seeing all the cool history stuff, eating the great food, being with my family. A little like later on in my life, as an adult, that was great. Yeah, just like I'm a little speechless right now because I'm just like picturing all the things I did. It was only like a year and a half ago, right? So yeah, it's sad, but also a feeling of joy at the same time, you know, nostalgia. So I'm a big smile on my face right now. No, it was just, what a great city. That's all I got to say. I don't need to tell you, Eric. You already talked about London. What a great time.
Yeah. And you, at that point, already had the experience of the subway in Washington, so taking the tube, not as big of a culture shock, right?
True.
But like, it is, maybe, I don't know, I've never been to Washington, but maybe it is a bit different how they operate over there. Different sides, perhaps, I'm not sure, but such an efficient transportation system that you get used to pretty quickly, and you kind of miss, right, that we don't have that here in Ottawa. Like, we'll never have that most likely, but it's so good and like so easy to get around. Just follow the lines, follow the spiders, and then you'll find your way to where you need to be. But yeah, no, London's unbelievable. Like, I honestly could say this about all these places we're talking about. Like, never get sick of going to them, but there are so many other places in the world to see that you don't want to just keep going back to where you've been. But yeah, no, London's a special place for sure, and I never get tired of it for definitely. Yeah, that's awesome. Um, yeah, so I'll go next one for me. Keep again chronological order. The next trip we did was something that I feel like I've already talked about, but does need more shine on it because it's not really something that you hear about. I think, anyways, people doing or that you think of doing would be the cruise we took to Alaska. Huge recommend. If you've never done a cruise, first of all, I feel like they take care of so much for you where your whole trip is really organized by like it's a schedule, right? Every day you're going to either a new dock or it's a day at sea, do whatever you want. But it gives you a nice structure layout that you can follow at your own leisure. You book your own excursions once you get to the ports. But Alaska in particular was so nice. It reminded me kind of BC too, with the mountains of albeit more snowy, I'd say, and probably yeah colder, but just beautiful nature, great vibes, great hikes. Like so, we got there a few days before our cruise departed, and we rented a car, drove from Anchorage to Seward, which is where the cruise left from. So we were able to do a few hikes along the way and got some beautiful sights in. Two hikes, Devil's Lurch, I think is one of them's called, and the other one, which I found, which I guess would be like a story there where it was like high up in the snowy peaks. It felt like we're in the mountains that the Fellowship of the Ring was walking through. And
Wow.
this was definitely a hike where once you got to a certain point, you probably needed some the crampons or spiked shoes, or poles, which we had none of. And I remember specifically like, climbing up this, trying to get to this peak, and we're walking through snow, like heavy snow, and I put my foot down to take the next step, and my full leg just sunk down. Like I honestly, if I was maybe like a few inches more to the left, I might have fallen down into this mountain. I might not be here right now. I still think about that. How stupid that was to go on this hike where like my heart dropped as soon as that happened. I was like, all right, we're gonna turn around now, and man, that was scary. Ultimately, we were fine. Again, if you want, this YouTube video documents this whole misadventure, if you will. You can just see like it was raining and snowing at the same time. It was just such a crappy day. But once we got to the somewhat top, like, it was really nice. I liked it. But yeah, do your research before you go on some of these hikes. But definitely, yeah, Alaska was the first time we saw like glaciers in person, which are super cool. We kind of got to scale on one of them. Like there was only so far we could go, but we were right up on one as well. So yeah, no, Alaska, really nice. Like you could see like the race dogs that they have, like the Iditarod Trail. There's yeah, just like cool wildlife. Like we saw these Dell's porpoises, they're called. They kind of look like orcas. Really cool. Yeah, no, Alaska was an all-time trip, and the cruise I think is your best like outlet to take in Alaska because you get to see. Like, we went to 3 different ports and then started off in Seward, so got to see. Well, we saw like 5 spots, so really nice. Strong recommend Alaska. Yeah.
That's great to hear. Sounds like a nature haven there,
Yeah.
and a place people don't really think of right away as the first thing the first thing that jumps to mind. I have a question though, like a cruise. So I've never been on a cruise. Is it like do you go back there to eat, or you're eating when you're? Do you spend a lot of time on the boat, or it's mostly like every day you're going somewhere new, or do you have stints where you're just on the ship, Eric? And how is it sleeping on the boat?
Mm-hmm.
Is it or on the giant ship? Like what's the atmosphere like on the cruise ship?
Yeah, so it depends on the day. Like typically they tell you like this is the time that no, they always tell you this is the time that we arrive at the port and this is the time that we're leaving the port. So if it's like we get there at 8 and we're leaving at 6 and it's 6:10, like you're shit out of luck. Like you're staying in Ketchikan until you figure out a different way to get out of there. But so I guess most nights you're eating dinner on the cruise. I don't think there's many, if any, nights really that you could afford to have a dinner in the location where you're docked, unless it's you have a super early dinner, you're on that like 85, 80 plus age bracket. But yeah, so there's different nights where there's the main dining hall where there's kind of a set menu and you can choose what you want to eat. There's always a lobster night too. And then there's also different like buffet areas you can eat at. The Windjammer, which is a bar that's always ready, like, has like sandwiches and stuff. So you have different options for where you want to eat. Then there's kind of a la carte restaurants as well. So you can go main dining hall or these a la carte ones. Those are kind of your choices. I think you need to book them in advance though, but there typically is room for whatever you want, um, based on the day. So yeah, a lot of options. That's what I would say there. And cruise life in general, like, there's so much entertainment on there that you can either take in the shows that they have. They have like trivia in there's a lot of different bars, right? So every day there's pretty much trivia going on a few times in the day. So you can spend like an hour or two doing trivia at one of the bars, and then
That's
see like there's a few shows every night, and the entertainment there is really good. I would say, great shows. And there's always like a game room too, where one of the cruises we've been on, they had like there's a full length basketball court where they have activities there. Like we did some archery one day there. They have like set kind of activities really, like from 11 to 12 you can come shoot a bow and arrow at a target, whatever. So that's cool. There's surfboard, like kind of like a slope that has like water going down, you can surf on it kind of thing. There's
damn.
just a bunch of different things you can do, and you can indulge in as much as you want. And if you don't want to, if you want to just chill at the pool's there, really, jacuzzi, bar, whatever you want. It's a dealer's choice, and you don't need to get off at the port either. You can stay on the boat even
Right.
if it is a port day. But we tend to get off like when it's a port day because you
For
want to
sure.
see what they
For
have
sure.
to offer here. So no cruise, and yeah, it's all you can eat. All you can drink is a different package that you have to pay for if you want. So, but drinks
Right.
are kind of expensive on a cruise, so it is worth looking into depending on how much you do plan on drinking. So,
Yeah.
research.
See what the price is, and then you divide it by how many times you're gonna drink. Yeah.
Yeah. Like Alaskan cruise is not really the venue where you want to be getting hammered every day, but a Caribbean cruise, like that's a different vibe for sure.
Great story. Great.
Yeah.
That's awesome, Eric. Yeah, definitely would like to do a cruise one day, but I think before a cruise, I just need to go down south and do that resort experience, which I've
Yeah.
never done. Okay, the last thing I'm going to talk about, probably my favorite trip I've ever been on. Arguably. Anyway, this is 2008. Before I say where the trip was, let me just paint a picture. I just started my first job ever at Farm Boy. This is a month in to Farm Boy. I had let my manager know. I'm like, oh yeah, by the way, my family planned a trip. Like this has been planned for a while, and I need 2 weeks off, like right away. And then my manager's like, what the hell, really? Okay, I didn't know about this. And he was a little like, he gave me the time off, but he was a little like, hey, we hired you for the summer, we need you. Anyways, I take 2 weeks off right away into my first like month at Farm Boy. And actually, it was after my first week. It was 2 shifts in. I'm like, I need 2 weeks off. Anyway, we flew to San Francisco, my family trip to San Francisco. That was such a great trip, Eric. Great city. But the moment I want to highlight is when we went to Alcatraz and did the walking tour of Alcatraz.
Cool.
One of my best places I've ever been to. Take a little boat there to the little island, of course. And it's just like, every time I saw a picture of it or saw it in the movies, like, very eerie and very like a cool atmosphere. You know, it's always windy in San Francisco. You get there, you're a little cold. You look at the place and you get goosebumps because it's like a little fortress prison. You go in Alcatraz and you see it like this. It's like, I thought I was on the set of Shawshank Redemption or something. It was really cool. And then seeing the tiny cells. And then you have this earpiece and they're like telling stories and giving the walking tour through there. Like it wasn't a guide, it was all in my ear. Like you're pretty free to go where you want. And it was like, I just had chills the whole time, Eric, like hearing past stories about past prisoners. And like, it was definitely on the more darker side, but very interesting. They go on a lot about like the escape that may or may not have succeeded, the three guys that escaped Alcatraz. I remember buying the book too in a gift shop and reading it after. Very cool. I also remember waiting to get on the ferry to go to Alcatraz. Like, there was a lot of hype. You know, you're waiting in the line, and it was really we took a lot of pictures that day too. And my parents have some of those pictures at their house, and I still like look at them all the time. Yeah, San Francisco was a great city with amazing food. Definitely colder than I thought, with like, especially at night with the low humidity. I'll just throw in another theater story. I didn't plan to tell all these movie stories, guys, but I'm doing it. Dude, it was 2008, The Dark Knight. It was The Dark Knight that had come out, and we went to a theater, and it was one of the best theater experiences of my life, Eric. Even though I have a history with the movie on the podcast,
Of course.
that movie just ripped that night. Everyone was clapping during the movie, which I'd never seen before, ever. Like, cheering during the movie.
Yeah.
I was shocked, but like not in a bad way. Just like, oh my God, what is going on right now? And at the end of the movie, everyone stood up and applauded like we were at the Cannes Film Festival. It was crazy. I still remember like when that movie ended, you know, like when Gary Oldman sang it, you know, the Jim Gordon line, and oh my God, it was great. This should be one of my favorite movies based on this experience, right? And the Joker. But yeah, the city was just great, and Alcatraz, like, that will be a moment I'll never forget visiting Alcatraz. I'll remember till I'm in my late 90s, hopefully, and yeah, just very, like, not morbid, but like, it tapped on like the macabre side, and like, I kind of like that stuff too. Like, not that I'm obsessed with like the criminals and all that, but it was very, very eerie and the perfect atmosphere, and very cool, Eric. So, you know, on a historical aspect too. So yeah, San Francisco was one of the trips I'll never forget. Time of my life. I was like 16 going on 17 that summer, and what a time, Eric. Mm-hmm. It was all downhill after that, you know, working full time, finishing high school, working. Like, San Francisco was the last of my, all right, back to like reality here. It was a great escapism type of trip. So that's what I'm going to end my trip talk with.
Yeah, that sounds like an awesome trip. Like, seeing Alcatraz, you probably felt like you were in Alcatraz and you were back at Farm Boy when the manager's like, yeah, this guy thinks he can start here and leave 2 weeks in, graveyard shifts for days. You're opening at 5 a.m. Like, just putting you through the meat grinder out there, pun intended. But no, that sounds odd. I've never been to San Fran. Dark Knight story is all time. Like, that's definitely one that would stick with you for a lot of reasons, right? Where you get that awesome movie in a different country, city. So right there, it solidifies that you would remember seeing that movie there. But then the experience within the theater, where people are acting like barbarians, thinking they're like at a gladiator arena, basically. So that's super cool. I love to hear that. But yeah, I don't know why. Maybe from that moment on, it was all downhill for The Dark Knight for you, where it started off so high as like maybe an all-time movie with the experience, and then just it could not reach those heights again. I don't know, but that's awesome.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting theory. Yeah.
What the thing I'll say now on, like, I'll just say one last story too, where I don't know if you need this as much as me, Matt, because you seem to be able to really vividly recall details, but something I do whenever I go on trips now is I always open up a notes app in my phone, just show, like, here, we know what I'm talking about there, but you can't even see. Anyways, and I just write down what I did every day when we go on these trips so I don't forget, and also to give recommendations to people who eventually go on these trips. But it's also fun just to read what I wrote 3 years ago on a trip, where like, oh, this is how I was feeling, this is how excited I was to see this thing. It's a pretty easy thing to do, or it maybe adds a few minutes every day but I think it's worth it, honestly, especially for like, remembering the nostalgia, and then again recommendations to people. So my last one will be the trip that Andy and I took in 2022, which is go to Nice in France. So I had been to France before, Paris, great spot, but Nice clears Paris all day. And if you do want to go on a European trip and also get that resort vibe experience, look no further than Nice because it has that tropical allure, the beautiful beaches, sunny, warm weather. Like we went late September in 2022, even into October, and it was still like in the 20s as far as temperature goes. So really, really warm, good vibes, great food, and you can travel to a lot of these different coastal towns and villages too for cheap in the train. And went to Monaco on that trip too. Got to see the casino that's featured in like a lot of James Bond movies, and seeing that casino specifically at night was like being in a James Bond movie. There, they had these. I still remember like these four sports cars with the doors up, all a different color. Like they might have been filming a Fast and Furious there, for all I know, because it was insane. You see these people dressed to the nines walking in, like we did not belong in there, but obviously as long as you pay the price of admission, you're fine to go. But just seeing these people who were gambling, like high stakes, it looked like anyways. We played a bit on like some roulette tables and stuff, but not throwing down big money. I actually saw these young kids, like probably around our age, hit on 00 or zero, one of the two. It was like they hit on zero and they were freaking out. I don't know how much money they made, but they were losing it. It was great to see. But yeah, Nice, huge recommend. Yeah, Paris is cool. I think it's a must see at one point in your life, but like Nice was a better trip. Didn't really get that vibe that you hear from a lot of people of like the snobby French people who don't respond to you when you're speaking to them in French. Didn't really have that vibe. You hit up a bakery every day to start your day. There's a market that they had, I think, every Sunday or something like that. Went there a few times. Really, really nice. Yeah, I mean, like hitting up, like I said, those coastal villages all have their charm. Good food, good vibes. What more can you ask for? Good weather. Nice, huge recommend. One of our favorite spots.
Wow, I feel like it's a underrated or like a hidden gem of a location because I've never heard anyone talk about Nice until you, Eric. And yeah, it's not. I'd love to go to France. I've never been, and that's definitely a spot that I'd love to go to. Based on your description, is it on the more south coast or west coast?
South of France.
That's awesome. So okay, wow.
Yeah.
And you said like it's late September and it's still super warm.
Yep. We were in there in October. It was so warm.
Yeah. And I hear like in France you got to hit up the bakery in the morning. That's just the thing to do, right?
Yeah. Get a nice clafoutis to start your day off.
Ooh.
Nice baguette.
That's a great way to start the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you've been to so many places, Eric, and I'm sure you could have named 30 places today, right? Like, it's amazing, and you're still so young, and you're gonna hit up like think of all the other places you're gonna visit in your life. That's crazy. I feel like the older I get, I'm gonna be traveling more and more because I'm gonna realize like, hey, like I'm not gonna be in my 30s forever or in my 40s forever, so start enjoying it a little bit more, especially like as I get more financially comfortable right now and start like planning things. And no, it's gonna be great. Definitely gonna look back on this episode and be like, oh yeah, these trips here, like these are great. Man, like my pictures are pictures. Like I'll look at the picture and remember, but like talking about it, hearing myself talk about it, and I'm gonna be re-listening to this. So Matt, if you're listening right now, if you're 60 years old, I hope you're doing great right now and all that, and no, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, I guess the last thing I'll say on traveling in general, whereas I think there's no bad time to travel if you're able to, and like I'll just say like I'm super fortunate that I've had a lot of opportunities to be able to travel. I don't take that for granted. I do think that if you're able to, like if you're younger too, and like maybe you think like Europe, it's more something I'll want to do when I'm older. Like if you can, I would go because like honestly, like in life, nothing's guaranteed. You can't just bank on like do all these when I'm retired, right? So if you're able to, I think having like if you can spin one trip per year, that's a must do. Like I would say to anybody, prioritize a travel over purchasing things because you're not gonna remember that hoodie you had in 2012 or that I don't even know what else you spend money on. An experience is worth or like a possession tenfold, right? So that's my thinking anyways. Like I'd much rather spend money when I'm somewhere abroad, like no limit, compared to just spend on a bunch of stuff at home and then not be able
Yeah.
to travel kind of thing. Like that's my thinking anyways, and I think it's something worth looking into. Like if you can spin a trip per year, like you kind of also need an escape from day to day
Yeah.
life, like working grind. Like you said, Matt, like we're not 12 years old biking around Stanley Park anymore with no stress. Like
Yeah.
it's a different lifestyle now. So that'd be my thing. It's get out there. If you're young enough, go on, travel abroad. If not, like, study abroad. But if not, travel. Like there's so much to see in this world. It may seem daunting, but it's worth it when you get there. Trust me. I've never literally haven't had a single trip I'm like I regret coming here. You know what I mean? So some are better than
That's
others.
yeah, it's an amazing thing you just said, Eric. Because at the end of the day, on your deathbed, you're not taking anything with you. You're not taking a U-Haul with you to the cemetery, right? It's going to be the memories and the experiences that define you, not all your possessions that disappear once you're old, and it's going to be the memories of these trips. And what you said was beautiful, Eric. That's all I'm going to say. Great.
Nice.
Yeah. Did you want to recommend a few things, or what you've been up to?
Yeah, I recommend some stuff I've been up to. Like I've actually been. People are asking like, "Where's the kombucha updates?" I'm gonna give a little update to the people, appease that or quench that thirst. So basically, I think I've said it already, but the first batch was a flop. Like it did not work. I kept the SCOBY, and I've actually I'm starting to brew a second batch now, so I'm on day 6 of it, and it already is looking more promising. Where I'm seeing some forming of a potential second SCOBY in the kombucha vessel, which at which point it's been fermented. Because the problem last time was that I didn't put enough water in the vessel. There was too much sugar, and every time I tasted it, it was super sweet. Like the ratio was off. So this time I put more water, a gallon of water to a cup of sugar, and with the black tea and the SCOBY. So I'm praying that in like probably 7 days or so, I'll be able to taste, and if it tastes fermented, I can then bottle, and I'll have made kombucha. So I'm hoping the next time I give an update on the pod, it did work. If not, I'm gonna try again. Honestly, like, I don't want to stop. If it doesn't work, I'm not quitting. So there's that. And then we're actually working right now on making our first batch of sourdough at home. So we have a starter that we've been feeding for the last few days, and it's now doubled in size, which is super fun to see because we have this like cylinder. My mom gave Andy a sourdough kit. So this cylinder, we have a band around it, and you can see kind of the height that it's at, and then after feeding it you kind of see where it's grown. So it's literally doubled in size. So I think tomorrow we're gonna try to actually make a dough. So excited for that. That's been fun to do, like just following up every day, seeing how like for the kombucha the color's changing, and then the sourdough how much it's bubbling and stuff. So it's been fun to try these things, and that's my recommendation, I guess, is like just try new things, and these are good things for you too, right? It doesn't have to, you don't have to start fermenting stuff there, but it's fun to find these new hobbies and things that are interesting, and if they just so happen to be good for you, gut friendly, not a bad thing to invest in. So yeah, that'd be my recommendation and slash kombucha fermentation update.
Yeah, I'm loving all these like side culinary hobby projects that pay off. That could pay off. Like, well, they will pay off eventually, I know. But maybe experimenting, doing all that might be just as fun as like the destination that you're eventually gonna like have the final product. You're gonna look back at all the failed attempts and be like, oh yeah, I remember how many times it took us. That's awesome. I'm gonna recommend. I don't have too much, but definitely a couple shows.
Nice.
Okay, the first show. You talked about. I don't remember which episode you talked about this, but you did mention Peacemaker season 2. So I watched Peacemaker season 1. Haven't started season 2 yet, but season 1 of Peacemaker. You know what? This is very enjoyable to watch, Eric.
Yeah.
Like ripped by like the episode and 40 minutes an episode, like just on to the next one. Finished it in a week. Had a blast with it. Honestly, James Gunn does what James Gunn does. He makes you care about the characters, and you're not bored. And there's good writing and dialogue, and I'm laughing. I'm laughing at all these side characters. John Cena might be the star, but I was falling in love with the other characters just as much too. I never got really annoyed. I could see how some people might get annoyed with some of the stuff and the jokes, and like you said, like the language maybe. But I didn't have a problem with it. I didn't have a problem either with the ridiculous plot, a la James Gunn that he's shown in the last few movies. You know, with creatures or just weird situations. I like James Gunn's humor, and I like the thought and character development he does for everyone in the show. And it was very enjoyable to watch, and I can't wait to watch season 2. You said season 2 maybe a different tone, or maybe you can let me know right now. But season 1 was really, really outrageously fun. That's how I'm going to describe it. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I'm curious to see what you think of season 2. Like, I kind of like that you didn't love season 1 to the point where you may think season 2 is a jarring turn. So I'm curious to see where 2 will land for you in terms of how much you enjoyed it. So I just want to know, like, who did you like the most in terms of side characters? Who were you a fan of supporting characters? Who did you like the most, or like 1 or 2 characters?
I liked Economos and Vigilante. Like I thought, to me, that humor worked.
Yeah.
Like that made me laugh, and then like brings it back to like more serious moments that worked for me too. I thought Vigilante had me rolling. He had me rolling, Eric.
Yeah.
Like some of the back and forth with Peacemaker or John Cena, that was funny. Sometimes I thought some of the Peacemaker like jokes and references was like too over the top, like going too much. But at the end of the day, though, I had a really I was never bored watching the show. Yeah. Definitely Vigilante was like, he was cracking me up a lot. Yeah. What about you, Eric?
Yeah, those would be the 2 I was kind of looking at, honestly, as like the 2 standouts for comedy, especially. Yeah, like I said, there's a turn in season 2. Some characters act differently for sure, but I still think you'll enjoy the majority of them and the direction that they all go down. And there's some good new characters in season 2, which is a thing I enjoyed a lot. But yeah, Vigilante, he's kind of like the Deadpool, right, of this show. Yes. Like, he's like that exact kind of character, even down to the look, right? It's like the weapons and like the mask and everything. So, good character there. And yeah, I think Peacemaker, a lot of his lines are improv, John Cena too. But I know exactly what you're saying. Like, the bits are kind of funny, but then they keep going for like an extra 30 seconds, which at which point you're like, all right, like, let's kind of move this plot forward here. But no, there's some good twists in season 1 with them. I forget the guy. Is it the guy who was like a bug? Is his name like Muriel or something? What's his name again?
Mern.
Yeah.
Mern, yeah.
He was an interesting character.
Some good twists.
Yeah.
The best thing this show does, it's 8 episodes, 40, 45 minutes an episode, in and out.
Yeah.
It doesn't waste time. But I love James Gunn's style, so like super easy to watch. But I want to check out season 2 definitely for the end of it, before the end of the year, and I will. I'll be doing that this week. So yeah, that's one of the shows. I got one more show to talk about, but did you want to go ahead with?
Well, no, you can say your show, and then I'll see if it's the same as me.
Well, mine's an older show actually from 2022. So you go ahead, Eric.
Okay, sure. So my show, I actually did mention it. I think the last episode. Welcome to Derry. So the show based on the book and movies, Stephen King universe. I'm enjoying it so far. 2 episodes in. Really, it's a creepy show for sure, and definitely different than the movies. Where I'll just say now, like, it's not all clown action we're getting. Like, there's different creatures and horror components in there. It obviously still revolves around the same premise of like there's something going on in Derry. Why are people acting differently in ways that they shouldn't? The influence of Pennywise, like you feel it over the town, and it looks like they're expanding on the lore, which is a cool thing that I'm enjoying. And without saying anything, like spoiling exactly what I'm enjoying also is that there is some interconnectedness with other Stephen King works, which you had mentioned in our last episode. So you'll probably pick up on it right away. I had to Google it to see, like, I just Googled the show and then it said it there and I was like, like, it's too bad I didn't see this, but now I know, whatever. You'll know for sure. Like, I'd be shocked if you don't know, but Yeah, no, 2 episodes in, I'm enjoying it right now. Scary show. Welcome to Derry. I think you'll like it, Matt.
Yeah, I haven't started it yet, but I cannot wait. And Stephen King does have the King universe in all his novels. Like he has a connecting thing, and he likes doing that. So I'm glad they did that in the show. Yeah, I just been like between Peacemaker and the show I'm going to talk about, and even The Witcher on Netflix, which I'm watching with Mackenzie. Definitely the next show is Welcome to Derry. But for some reason, this show I'm about to talk about, this show I was just thinking about, and it just popped in my head, and I'm like, oh my god, I gotta watch it right away, because we did our Godfather episode, The Godfather versus Shawshank, like 2 episodes ago or 3.
Yeah.
And this show is about The Godfather. This show is called The Offer. It's a Paramount Plus exclusive, super highly rated, and I just re-emerged in my brain the other day, and it's about the making of The Godfather, how The Godfather got made at Paramount, and it's about Bob Evans, the head of Paramount, played by Matthew Good in the show, who's amazing, and it's about Miles Teller, who plays Al Ruddy, who is a producer, one of the producers who got The Godfather made, and the show starts off with the author writing the book, Mario Puzo, and how the book right away got bought like the Paramount bought the rights to The Godfather like after reading 60 pages of the book, and like they're like, let's take a chance, $15,000 for the rights, the film rights, and it paid out big time in the end. We know The Godfather was a huge hit, but I'm about halfway through the show, and it's really cool seeing the Hollywood behind the scenes, how a movie gets made, how hard it is, casting, getting the budget. But also in this show, they decided to show the influence of how that movie and book kind of shook the mafia world in New York, where it kind of gave the real life mafia, the Italians, they were worried that it would paint them as stereotypical, like they're all criminals and gangsters, which is kind of funny because that's exactly what they were. But they're like, we can't have this movie cut out because it's going to paint us in a bad way, even though they're doing all the bad things themselves.
Yeah.
They're worried about the look it's going to give them. And this was a real life thing. And eventually, obviously, they settled into an agreement because the movie got made. But right now, I'm at the point where like they're trying to stop the movie, and there's really cool things going on. Great writing and acting. Miles Teller is fantastic, as he always is. Matthew Good, like I said, he's amazing in this. You got Juno Temple in there. She's great. A lot of Dan Fogel. I think his name from Fantastic Beasts. He plays Francis Ford Coppola, the director. Yeah. He's great in this.
Cool.
The Offer is a really good show, Eric. Like I said, I'm only halfway, but holy hell, it's amazing. It reminds me of just behind the scenes Hollywood and just great acting and script. I was watching this show at the same time as Peacemaker, like doing an episode of each, and like I'm like, I gotta finish The Offer before I start into Welcome to Derry, because it's so compelling. You know, where I love The Godfather, we both do, and this is about the making of it. Right up my alley, guys. If you love movies, you'll love watching this show because it's about the love of movies, and all the references in it are unreal. So, The Offer, it's a Paramount Plus show. It's amazing so far.
It's funny that you hit us up with a Godfather-centric show, just topic again. Coming off like 3 episodes ago, we did our episode Godfather vs. Shawshank. And actually, funnily enough, last night I was at Tap Room 260, and it was a trivia night out there, and sure enough, one of the categories was The Godfather. So it was pretty timely where I'm like, all right, I just watched this. I should be able to nail these questions. And one of them, I'm sure you're going to get this, Matt. I'll just ask you. Finish the quote. Behind every family is a great...
Behind every family is a great... Oh my God, I'm blanking hard right now.
So there's options. I'll just say there are 4 options. So there's a great dawn, a great family, great crime, great story. That's the quote to open the movie. It opens with this.
Oh my God. Behind every family, there's a great story, I guess. I don't know. I'm blanking hard on this right now.
So it was crime, actually.
Crime, okay, I can't recall.
I didn't get it. My dad actually got it. So, yeah, Behind Every Family is a great crime. But
it's not something I think of. Like, I don't Yeah, wow.
So that was
Good
fun.
on
But
you,
no,
man.
this show sounds awesome. Like right up my alley. Did you mention where it was streaming? Is it on like a network that we would have or?
No, I mean it's just on Paramount
Okay,
Plus.
okay. So yeah, I have that.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Yeah, no, that sounds awesome. Like I would love. I think I'm gonna watch that for sure. I'll just
But
say.
again, it
Go ahead.
doesn't boost our numbers for this year, so it's
Yeah,
like
that's the thing, right? I'm just trying to just
it's the end of the year
2025
crunch,
only.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're in the
Yeah.
grind right now too. So speaking of grind, I'll just throw an album out right now that just came out on Halloween actually. So it's called Halloween Havoc 6, The Six of
Mm.
Swords by Lloyd Banks.
Oh.
So if you're unfamiliar with Lloyd Banks, just really quickly, he was a member of G Unit back in the day with 50 Cent. And he's kind of been putting out music really in the 2020s. He's kind of resurged in a sense with underground releases and whatnot. And I find that he kind of does keep, he has a good consistency with the quality of his lyrics. Yeah, I guess that'd be really it. But this one I found it was really, like, as a sword is, very sharp. Some catchy songs in there too. I was kind of vibing big time in there. And yeah, the beats were eerie. It had that Halloween vibe. He puts out a Halloween Havoc album every Halloween. Shocker. So, but this was one of the better ones I'd heard in a long time. No guests on here, it's just him. 16 songs, but a lot of very poignant lyrics that stuck with me and just some vivid storytelling. So, good album. It's stylized HHV1, the Six of Swords.
Yeah.
So if you type Halloween Havoc, it's not going to come up. But just Lloyd Banks'
Okay.
latest album. Really good stuff. And we might get into this in our hip hop album episode with Brandon. But Lloyd Banks is someone I would like to see make a collab album with a producer of the caliber of like The Alchemist, who could give him really good beats, which I feel like he would benefit from in that with this album, a lot of the songs kind of sound the same or have the similar vibe. Where I think he would really, if he had a producer like Alchemist making beats for him, there'd be more variety, I think. Even though it's the same person making all the beats, that would be someone he would benefit from working with. But yeah, no, great album overall though, so I just wanted to throw that out there.
No, thanks for throwing it out there because I had never heard of this, so I wrote it down. I'm gonna listen to it this week. It's awesome. Any music you and Brandon give me, like I'm definitely adding it to my list, and I'm very much looking forward to that episode. Honestly, every year I think my hip hop knowledge improves, which it does because another year gone by of listening to a lot of stuff, old and new. So I think there's lots to talk about this year
For
in the
sure.
hip hop. Yeah. Even like there's albums coming out every week. I'm like, I gotta check that out. Oh my
Yeah.
god, it was good. Overall, I think I have a higher rating on each album I've listened to because I what I do, Eric, I write down the album and I write good, very good, great, very great. That's my
Okay.
rating system for my hip hop albums. Yeah,
Good system.
there's been a lot of great ones I've written great.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Agree. Yeah, it's gonna be a tough to round out that top 10, but we'll, as we always do, we'll find a way. I just want to give a few shout outs to the people who responded to the story asking where some of their favorite countries were. So, former guest Kilson Ud, she submitted Iceland. So yeah, again, one of my favorite countries I've been to. Great spot. The homie Mike from a few episodes ago, who was on the radio guest there, submitted New Zealand and Iceland. He said wild landscapes and unreal hiking. So, never been to New Zealand. 100% on the list, though. I really want to get out there and see those Lord of the Rings set pieces.
Right. Yeah. Same here.
So, then the next one was from Taunt Mary, your mom, Matt. So, she submitted Venice, which is that where they are right now? Or,
Yeah, she's literally in Venice.
Expose,
So
but yeah.
that's probably why she wrote that, right?
Yeah.
She's literally there. They did Florence, Rome, and Venice. So,
Pictures look,
good answer, Mom.
pictures look awesome. It looks really nice. The next one was from my cousin Dan, who's been on the pod as well. He submitted Mogador as his favorite spot. So for those who are unfamiliar with the niche borough within Akron, Ohio, that's where we have some family out there. So been down there quite a few times. Always a good time hitting up those Mogadorites. And yeah, no, it's a hidden gem, if you will, of the mid-central America.
Mogdor.
And then
Mogdor.
add it to the list. And then
Yeah.
the last one was from my mom. She submitted Peru. So I've never been, but that's definitely it would be a sweet spot. I feel like Central and South America is an area we've not ventured in at all. So definitely would love to down the road, 100%. Like Brazil and stuff would be great.
Yeah, I'd love to go there too. See all the ancient civilizations, like
The Machu Picchu.
the ruins and all that.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was it. Thanks a lot, everybody, for submitting. Always appreciate when you do. But I think that's it for the episode today, Matt. A lot of fun going down memory lane with you and going back and forth, sharing stories. Won't be the last time we do this, no doubt. But always fun to reminisce. So, any final notes for the listeners?
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Hope you enjoyed the episode. I had a blast, Eric, listening to your stories. And me reminiscing on mine just put a big smile on my face, and I'm in a super good mood right now and ready to kick off my day. It went by super fast, right? We could have done this another hour. And everybody, again, thank you for listening to the podcast, and thank you for everyone who submitted a location for this episode, a travel location. That's awesome.
Yeah, likewise, Matt. A lot of fun listening to your stories and sharing mine as well. So thanks a lot, everybody, for listening. Stay tuned for episodes dropping every 2 Mondays. Continue to enjoy. Now we're in the almost Christmas season. Mariah Carey's blaring in every mall you go to. And, peace.